The media's coverage of Jenin has exposed a concerning bias. Just listen to the language they use.
The Israeli forces are happy to kill children.
An openly apartheid state.
The brutal military occupation
is the most violent,
the most right-wing fundamentalist government in the history of the state of Israel.
Massacring kids.
Now let's contrast that with how the Palestinians are portrayed.
Refugees who were displaced by Israel.
They are a people without a home.
There are children who live there as well.
The rest of the world should really think about these kids that were killed.
60 long, brutal, horrible years in an open camp, let's put it that way.
This framing presents Palestinians as victims of Israeli aggression. However, it's crucial to recognize that every Palestinian killed in this conflict has been confirmed as a militant. The operation was a targeted strike aimed at preventing attacks on Israeli civilians. But the media bias goes beyond demonizing Israel. Shockingly, certain outlets even glorify Palestinian militants. Just weeks before the Jenin operation, Al Jazeera aired a documentary shamelessly glorifying the Jenin brigades.
لحتى يتعلموا هون مخيم بدك تدفع ثمن فوق.
This glorification and justification of Palestinian violence continued throughout the coverage of the Jenin operation.
The Jenin brigades, which is this grouping of Palestinian militants.
The resistance fighters.
These are basically children and teenagers who have lived their entire lives under Israeli military occupation, and they've gotten to the point in their lives where they have no other option other than to take up a gun.
Our weapons are still with us, the resistance is still here, and we didn't lose anything.
The militants that operate here have widespread support. They are seen as defenders against a brutal military occupation.
It's a creeping occupation of the West Bank. No wonder there's going to be a response.
In any other conflict, the targeting of civilians by Islamist groups would be condemned. Yet in this case, the murder of 4 Israeli Jews was described by a guest on Al Jazeera as a strategic guerrilla tactic.
The ability of Palestinians to wage resistance, like in Haili a couple of weeks ago, it is developing and it's consistent, and it applies different tactics of guerrilla warfare.
The Eli attack left 4 Jews dead. They were innocent civilians, gunned down while eating at a service station. Now let's contrast that with the death of Nuruddin Marshood.
Family struggled to process the death of their 14-year-old son.
I want to show you Hassam Mashoud, who lost his son, Noor Eldin. Let's have a look.
His friend was injured. We saw my son rushing out to the hospital. He was saying, "I want to go to the hospital, I want to go to the hospital."
What they conveniently left out was Nuruddin was not a 14-year-old child, but a 16-year-old militant associated with Palestinian Islamic Jihad. By portraying him as 2 years younger, Channel 4 manipulates its audience into believing an innocent child was tragically killed. It's important to acknowledge that 16 is still young, but more concerningly is that he would have almost certainly been recruited at an even younger age, which raises concerns about the recruitment of teenagers to Palestinian militant groups. In any other conflict, the media would condemn the use of child soldiers. So why not here? It's crucial that we hold media outlets accountable and demand that they stop demonizing Israel, framing militants as civilians, glorifying militants, and ignoring the issue of child soldiers. Together, we can hold the media accountable. And if you'd like to help us make more videos like this, you can support us on Patreon or by purchasing the merch, and a small donation goes a very long way. Also, we've just launched on Rumble, TikTok and Threads, so make sure that you're following us on all of those accounts.